Really, this is amazing. And Coulter, one of the preeminent conservative speakers in our lifetime, banned from the Conservative Political Action Conference held in the Washington, D.C. area earlier in March 2014. But was Ann banned at Tea Party Fort Lauderdale? Absolutely not. And ironically, at the same CPAC conference, early March 2014, we had the United West, an investigative team there to analyze this amazing organization, MPAC, which is becoming an alternative to CPAC, and to do an investigative expose against CPAC for not only failing on immigration, but also willfully failing on national security issues like Islamic Jihad, Iran, and Israel. Not one word in the whole conference on Israel. I want you to watch this stinging indictment that Ann delivers against CPAC for their failure to address the issue, the critical national security issue of immigration.
Please welcome Tom Trento of the United West.
Just got to thank all of you for hanging in there with us on our work. But in a couple of weeks, we'll come out with an investigative report on the failure of CPAC to deal with national security issues. We had a team that went in obviously covert, dealt with one of the worst individuals in the United States, a guy by the name of Grover Norquist, who is a Muslim Brotherhood operative, and his partner, Suhail Khan. We nailed both of them. That'll be on tape. CPAC has failed on national security. They had 57 events, 0, except for you, Ann. You were the only one who dealt with immigration at that conference. This is the preeminent conference for Republicans. Because of the influence of Grover and Suhail, it's gone off the rails. And we will show this definitively, analytically, with individuals like Jerry Boykin, Jim Woolsey, others who have called for an investigation into these two guys. The Republican Party has been infiltrated in a very serious and deleterious way. This group, we the people, have to do something about it.
Thank you, Tom.
And Coulter.
Thank you. Thank you. It is so glad. I'm so happy to be at a real Tea Party. I was worried that the entire movement had been taken over by con men. Oh, and by the way, the scam I pulled with CPAC was really so brilliant. I just need to take 30 seconds to tell you about that. They weren't letting me speak, even though, and I think I told Joyce this, I'm sorry to even say this, except it's relevant to the story. Every year they poll the 10,000 CPAC attendees, and every year I've been voted for a decade now the most popular speaker, even when Rush is speaking, even when Sean Hannity is speaking. They're wonderful people, but I'm an excellent CPAC speaker. And so, wow, that's weird. They're not inviting me to speak this year. And they keep saying the invitation's in the mail, the invitation is in the mail, and then finally, oh, we have an idea. Why don't you have a debate? Why? So Mickey Kaus and I were debating, and no matter what question we were asked, it's a wonderful video, you should look it up. No matter what the question was, we turned it back to immigration.
What is it with your party that's fallen? The Republican voters don't like it. Look what happened to Marco Rubio when he endorsed amnesty. He went down in the polls. Why does the Republican Party persist in this suicidal rush?
It's baffling. It's one of those questions like how high is up, why they keep doing this. I mean, part of it is you do not hear the truth about immigration or amnesty any place in the media. You can hear, I mean, I guess on some of the blogs. There is no issue that is of as much importance to America and Americans that is so hidden from public view as immigration. I mean, you're talking about who votes. And the fact that Republicans don't understand that, can't grasp it, you say Rubio was hurt by it. It wasn't just Rubio. McCain, Bush, as you've written in your blog, it's like a zombie amnesty. We can't kill it. They keep going back to it. And my assumption is it's the lobbyists.
So despite CPAC's best efforts, Last year, I mean, as I think Wild Bill was mentioning, or somebody was mentioning, nobody was allowed to be anti-amnesty. They had immigration panels last year. No one was allowed to be anti-amnesty, but I just give a speech. They don't ask what I'm going to say, so my speech last year was anti-amnesty, thus the trouble this year. We weren't on the schedule, Mickey and I this year weren't on the schedule, weren't on the agenda. Nobody knew I was even going to be at CPAC, and we still packed the ballroom. And conservatives, when they hear someone talk about it, Americans are very good on immigration. We care about our fellow Americans. This is the point to make. I care about African Americans. I care about Hispanic Americans. I care about low-wage workers and blue-collar workers, and they're the ones being screwed so that Mark Zuckerberg and Marco Rubio can have cheap labor. Yeah. So they can have extra gardeners and cooks and nannies. I always say to people, if you're not sure what your position on immigration is, ask yourself, do I have a cook, a nanny, a chauffeur, a pool boy, a gardener, any generalized need for massive amounts of cheap labor? Because if you don't, immigration is a net loss for you.
I mean, that is really frustrating to see what happened to Ann Coulter. And if you are a serious conservative, you've got to ask yourself, how does an incomparable conservative icon like Ann Coulter, someone who has been selected year after year by the attendees at CPAC as their most popular speaker, how the heck does she get banned, amnesty, from speaking at CPAC? You also have to ask yourself, who the heck at the board at the American Conservative Union, the board level, is making willful decisions to exclude, on their 50th anniversary in this chaotic world, national security issues like immigration, Islamic Jihad, Iran, and Israel. And you also have to ask yourself, are the two individuals highlighted in this investigative declaration signed by 10 of America's most foremost national security experts, two of whom are former Attorney General Michael Mukasey and former head of the CIA, James Woolsey. They, with others, signed a document calling for an investigation to Grover Norquist and Suhail Khan as agents of influence leading America in the wrong direction on national security. We want you to get this book, and you can get it for free at the website Grover Must Go. Pretty simple, grovermustgo.org. Go there, download it. Folks, November 4, 2014 is quickly approaching. Watershed event for conservatives. We need to be informed. We need to understand this sort of information so we can intelligently deal with those conservatives that want to lead us astray and those conservatives that want to return America to its true conservative roots. Stay tuned for our investigative report that will expose CPAC for failing on national security issues in the near future. Tom Trento, signing off. See you soon.